So now let's take a look at the Unit P notes for P5 through P8. Start with P5, we're talking about functions. The assignments are there at the top. Those should take some time, complete those as we're going along here. P5, functions. First thing is some vocabulary words. The domain is the input values. In most cases, when we're looking at y equals mx plus b type equations, usually that is the x value. Doesn't always have to be that way, but in most cases, what we're looking at in this class is it will be that. The range then is the output values. And again, usually we're putting in x values and then we're getting out y values. So the input or the domain is going to be the x's and the range is going to be the outputs or the y's. The independent variable. The independent variable is the thing that can change. You can kind of think of it in regards with independent and dependent, that the independent variable is kind of the cause of something, and then the dependent variable is the effect. The independent variable is the before, and the dependent variable is the after. Independent variable is the input, the dependent variable is the output. The independent variable is the what you do, and the dependent variable is what happens after you've done that. And so the independent variable, well, things that we've been talking about, we'll just say the variable that can change or does change. The dependent variable is the one that is dependent upon the independent variable. We'll call this the result of the change in the independent variable. So then a couple other vocabulary words. A relation. A relation we're going to define as a set of ordered pairs. A function we're going to define as a relation where each x value has only one y value. And again, we can substitute words in there. Each domain has only one range. Each independent variable has only one dependent variable. There's lots of things that substitute for the same thing in this type of a problem. So let's take a look at some examples here. Determine whether or not the following relations are functions. So I want to know, is the set of ordered pairs something that has an x value only going to one y value, has one domain going to one range. And so when I look at the domain for the first one here, I can clearly see that this 1 only goes to one number, this 2 only goes to one number, the 3 only goes to one range, the 4 only goes to 1, the 5 only goes to 1, and the 6 only goes to 1. So my answer to this is yes, it is a function. When I move on to the second one, I again can see that the 2 only goes to 1, the 3 goes to 1, the 7 goes to 1, but I have an issue here when I see that the 6 actually goes to 3 of them. When that 6 goes to 3 of them, and so when that 6 repeats, that causes this to be no, let me switch pens, no not a function. So let's take a look at the last one. We've got, again, the -6 goes to 1, the -4 goes to 1, the 0 goes to one of them, the 1 goes to 1, the 3 goes to 1, and the 5 goes to 1. Notice that they all go to only 2 numbers, but the question is, does the domain only go to one range? And the answer in this particular case is yes, it does. So yes, it is a function. Second part of this is kind of looking at ordered pairs again, except this time in a table. So let me highlight a couple of these. Here is the domain for this one and the range. And then here's the domain for the second one and the range. And then here's the domain for the third one and the range. So we're looking at, does each x value or each domain only go to one range? And really what ends up happening is that we can see that this is an ordered pair. That's 1, 2. This one is 2, 3. This one is 3, 8. This one is 4, 17. And then each x value only had one y value. Okay, so yes, it's a function. For the second one, we take a look. The ordered pairs are 1, 5, 1, 6, 2, 7, and 3, 8. Because we have that 1, 5 and 1, 6, the domain does not go to only one range, it goes to 2. When I plug in a 1, this says that I get a 5 and a 6 back. Well, in functions, that cannot happen. So the answer to this is no, not a function. When I look at the last one then, I've got the ordered pairs 0, 4. When I plug in a 0, I get a 4. When I plug in a 2, I get a 6. When I plug in a 3, I get a 4. And when I plug in a 5, I get a 6. Okay. Notice that the range repeated, but that's okay. Ranges repeating is not a problem. We worry about the domains repeating. So I've got, each time I plug in a different number, I get a different result. So I plug in a 0, I get a 4. I plug in a 2, I get a 6. Plug in 3, I get 4. And plug in 5, I get 6. So I plugged in, if I were to plug in a 0 any other time, I'm only going to get a 4. So the answer to this one is yes, it is a function.